Hola, soy Pera Pérez y estáis escuchando a To Know Her is to Fear Her, el podcast de Spider-Woman.
Yes, welcome back, Spider Babies. You are listening to Know Her is to Fear Her, a Spider-Woman podcast. We're your hosts on this lovely, lovely day. I am Spider Baby Rey, and I'm joined by Seren. Seren, how are you going?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, very good. Very excited indeed, because we've got a little surprise for all you Spider Babies. And as mentioned previously in our past episode, we've got an additional show to our schedule.
Yes, we are now doing a second smaller show every 2 weeks, mid-month, alongside our usual monthly episode that covers the latest Spider-Woman comic book series. This new show hopes to cover the other stuff that makes up Spider-Woman and things we won't necessarily be able to cover on our regular monthly show. Origin, character spotlights, reviews on video games, animated series, action figures, anything Spider-Woman related.
Yeah, very exciting indeed. It just gives us a little bit more scope to talk about the things that we love to talk about, and that's basically Jessica Drew and anything Spider-Woman related. So this episode, for Spider Babies, we'll kick off this with a Spider Baby himself, Guy Etchells. Now, Guy has sent in, I guess, his story on how he came about Spider-Woman and how he became such a big fan. So it's quite an interesting thing. I mean, I don't know about you, Seren, as well. I'm always interested to know how people came about to follow Spider-Woman and their kind of story. So this should be a good one.
It really should. I'm really excited to hear what Guy has to say. And if you guys ever want to send us your stories, please do. We would love to hear from you.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, let's please. We'd love to open the show to all the Spider Babies. So whether we talk about Origins, whether you, the Spider Babies, want to talk about not only your fandom but maybe your collection or what you think of either Origin of Jessica Drew or what you think of the video games or the toy action figures, we'd just love to hear from you. So please drop in your thoughts.
So, without further ado, here is Guy Etchells, fellow Spider Baby and UK fan, with his thoughts on Jessica Drew. Enjoy!
Hello Spider Babies! My name is Guy and I'm a long-time Spider-Man fan. Now, in this first episode, I'm going to be sharing with you the first time I ever saw Spider-Man. My feelings, my thoughts about this character in her initial 50-issue run. I'm also, each episode, going to be awarding a gold web to something that I personally love about Spider-Woman. Let's begin by going back to about 1981. My best friend at the time there was Darren. Still is my friend to this day. And I used to go around to Darren's house a lot because we used to play a lot of Star Wars. We had the original Star Wars figures. I've still got my original ones with all the guns. Most of the time we lost them back in the old days, but I kept every single one. I still have. We also had ZX Spectrums. We also had Commodore 64s. So just imagine Ready Player One era and you sort of get the idea. Anyway, Darren had the Spider-Man comics. His parents brought him every single week. Now, the British Spider-Man comic was a little bit different. It was a reprint of the American one. They just made it larger and halved the story. And what they did in the back of it, they put a second story. And in this case, it was Spider-Woman. So I know it was 1981 because in one of these comics, somebody by the name of Guy N. Lawley drew a poster of Spider-Woman. We don't know if that person worked for Marvel or whether it was a fan who sent in a poster and they thought at Marvel, yeah, we'll put that in, it's really good. Anyway, Darren because every single time I was at Darren's house, I would literally go to the back and look at Spider-Man, look at this poster. He eventually, the good friend he is, gave me that poster. And I've still got that poster to this day. Anyway, that's how I know it's 1981, because at the bottom of the poster it is signed by Guy and Lawley, 1981. So, what it is about Spider-Man, what is it about her that I was attracted to straight away? Well, I think it's got to be the look. It's that red costume and the hair. Wow, was that great hair back then. She was just so different from Spider-Man, and that's what I loved the most. Spider-Man was very jumpy, round, happy. This was a very melancholic, very eerie, very lonely character. Now, we all seem to gravitate to somebody that we see ourselves in terms of characters. So for me, it was this loneliness, this inability to fit in, that Jessica was very melancholic, like I said. Well, I actually did feel very much like that when I was younger. I felt very on my own. Nobody else was like me. I didn't really fit in. So here was a character who was exactly how I was feeling. So bang, loved it straight away. Loved her straight away. Loved the tone of the comic. Which leads me to Marv Wolfman. He was the original writer of the Spider-Man series. He went for the eerie. He went for the macabre and the creepy and lost and you're different. And that has always been my thing. I prefer it more than the wisecracking, street fighting type characters. Now, it is difficult to put into words what it is about Spider-Woman. I've sat so many times and tried to think, what is it? Why do I like her so much? And I can't come up with a sentence that would explain that. It's a lot more to do with emotion. Every time I see certain pictures of her, there's a certain emotion. Perhaps it's, I'm regressing to my childhood. Although I'm not that old, but I am regressing to my childhood. I know exactly which panels were the first ones I actually saw. Issue 6 of Spider-Man, first series run. She's fighting with Morgan Le Fay, protecting Magnus the Magician. And those are the pictures that I remember first clapping eyes on. Now, what's really weird looking back now is, if you look at the first, the run of Spider-Man, especially the first, up to about episode 16, comic 15, issue 16, you are really looking at the artwork. And the artwork shows Jessica as a very, I think, mature, fully athletic woman. If you look at her, you wouldn't think she's the age she actually is. We've worked out now chronologically that she would be about 15 when she came out of stasis. So by the time she's in her own comic, she's probably 16, maybe 17. But if you look at the art and how she's drawn back then, she actually looked like a 27-year-old, a very mature woman. The art was very much more sophisticated and adult compared to perhaps what we see now. And I like that look, but it just seemed a bit weird looking at Spider-Man in the first issues and thinking, wow, she's only a teenager. That doesn't seem to fit, because the artist, Carmine Infantino, drew his characters as very mature, elongated, fully developed characters. Now, each time that I'm going to present an award, and that award is a gold web. And this could be for anything, but it's personal to me. So this could be for a cover of an issue, it could be for a certain panel, it could be a certain piece of writing, a certain piece of art, a certain concept, a plot line, story arc, anything. So, today, the first gold web has got to go to the artist Carmine Infantino. This guy, for me, is a legend. I love the way he drew Spider-Woman. Yes, she did look a lot older, but I like that sophisticated adult look that she had. The way he drew the figures really elongated, made it a little bit creepy. But most of all, it's the hair. I'm sorry to go on. As a lad, I have to go on about the hair. I love an interview they had with him once, and he actually said he drew the hair to act as a way to make the panels flow and add movement, and I can see that. And although it's not practical for a spider character to have this long hair, because it would just get in the way, from an artistic point of view, for what he was trying to achieve, it is perfect. I love the long hair on Jess. Right back when it originally came out, the hair was part of the costume. In the same way that Captain Marvel's sash is always associated with her, Jessica's hair was associated with her look, just as much as the gossamer webs under her arms and her red suit. The long hair I would love to see back, and very straight. I think that was just an iconic image. And his art, even to this day, I think is absolutely spectacular. So, thank you, Carmine Infantino. You get my first gold web. So, next time I'll be looking at the first few issues of Spider-Man, just from my comments and how I think, things I liked, things I didn't like. So, in the meantime, stay safe, everybody. And to know her is to fear her.
If you'd like to contact us with your thoughts on Spider-Woman and her amazing series, you can drop us a line at spiderwomanpod@gmail.com. We are also on Facebook and Instagram. Just search for Spider-Woman Pod or To Know Her Is to Fear Her, a Spider-Woman podcast. Catch us on Twitter at Spider-Woman Daily or on Discord, Tumblr, and Podchaser. Look for all our links to our social platforms in the show notes.
We are also proud members of The Collective, a supergroup of podcasters dedicated to covering all the characters and news in comics and beyond. Search for #TheCollectiveNet on Twitter to see the latest on all the shows, or click on the link provided in our episodes to give you a list of who's part of The Collective. Finally, please consider giving us a rating on either Apple Podcasts or Podchaser. Whether it be to sing your praises or give us pointers on how to improve the show, any ratings will help cast our web further and potentially reach out to more spider babies out there.
Thank you so much for listening to our show. We really appreciate it. Stay tuned for our next upcoming episode, but until then, remember, to know her is to fear her.
Spider-Woman and affiliated characters, stories and events are properties of Marvel Characters Incorporated. Material used and discussed within the podcast are intended for critique and review purposes only, under the fair dealing concept of the current Copyright Act. The views, information or opinions expressed during the podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of the copyright owners.